Hello, hello, eyes on the road. Goodbye, motherfucker, stop staring. Before I was really interrupted.
Go tell the IRS to suck my fucking dick. I sent that payment out.
Welcome back to another episode of the automatic to manual swap build series. Today we'll be installing the Level 5 T56 from Hawks Motorsport. You guys, what the fuck is that? You forgot your chains. Change and drag on the road. Pause. So with that being said, today we'll be installing the T56 from Hawks Motorsport, as well as the throwout bearing that goes with the clutch. I am waiting on a fitting from Amazon to get here. If that fitting does not arrive on time, I will have to delay a little bit longer to the right. I'm hoping this fitting that I ordered from Amazon is correct. Every time I gotta record, so it's a fucking car, fucking plane. Pause. I do have time to remove some of the automatic stuff that's still cranking in the car. It's literally right there, the lines and the cooler and the bracketry that goes with it. So I do have time to take that out. Shouldn't take me that long. Just gotta rip the bumper out, which is screws, maybe two connectors that go to the light. Don't need that cooler and that lines anymore. Allows more airflow in the front of the condenser and the radiator. That cooler is blocking a lot of stuff. When I rip the bumper off, you'll definitely see how big that cooler is. And I did run the biggest cooler I can run for the automatic for the 65E. That way it didn't blow up. I try to save this transmission, but I'm just done with it. I just want the T56 in it. Move, spawn, sound better. I can run a big old cam. Enough of that said, let's get this started. All right, y'all. So the bumper's off, and you can clearly see that the transmission cooler is pretty massive, you know, for what it is. It is a 14 by 11 dimensions, dual core, derail transmission cooler. It does have the switch that I did really hook up, and I didn't really plan to. I know I was going T56 later in this year. I just didn't know when, because I just try to keep it alive as much as possible. So we're removing this cooler out the way where I'll have more airflow to the condenser and radiator. Big restriction in the front of the bumper. So I will keep the power steering cooler there, not hurting anything. With that being said, I will take the bracket off here, and then as well as here. I will have to cut half the bracketry right here to get all that off and support these two mounting points for that cooler for the power steering. Honestly, it should come out pretty easy and simple. Well, not really. It's not really too hard. There's a lot of videos out there mounting these things on. So with that being said, so I got the cooler off, the lines, bracketry, and all that extra stuff that comes with it. I did salvage some close clamps though, because those things are getting expensive now. With that bracket, I'm gonna have to cut it in half so I can mount the cooler correctly back on it. If not, it is janky a little bit, so need to fix that and address that before I put the bumper back on. And you can see that's a lot more airflow to the condenser and radiator. Definitely gonna help me on the cooling factor on the track or on the street or just daily driving it. With that said, I'm gonna clean all that extra leaves, dirt, and all the extra dust out of there. I gotta modify that with my precision cutter wheel, and then mount it back up and then put the bumper back on. So let's get to it. Bumper's back on, cooler's removed. Honestly, that wasn't too bad. Still waiting on the Amazon van to get it here. Should be here in a little bit, so I'll see y'all until then. Fuck. Ow! Fucking toe. Alright guys, it showed up. Finally the Amazon guy came up and dropped it off. I was waiting all damn day for it too. So this little fitting This little fitting is what I was waiting for. And I was looking for the threads. I knew it was 1/8 by something. I just didn't know what it was. It is a -4 that goes to the British steel line to the master. And it is a 1/8 BSP, British Standard Piping, that goes to it as well. With that being said, I can install the throwout bearing and the fitting to the master and get this bolted to the transmission today as well. I am 80% sure of these bolts working, bolting the throwout bearing to the transmission. The old bolts are all rusty and crusty. When it comes to bolts, I'm very, very bougie, and I just like ARP. So these are correct. You can use that part number as well to reference these bolts if you want to run different strength bolt, or you just want to be a little bougie. Some people just do bougie on the steering wheel, or carbon fiber, or paint, or wheels. To me, it's just something that I maybe never ever see, but I know it's gonna stay there without using Loctite. So let me go try this out real quick, because I just opened the package. Yeah, they work. That's good. Again, that one right there, you can use that part. You can use these two bolts to bolt the throwout bearing if you want to run ARP bolts to bolt down the throwout bearing to your transmission. So with that being bolted to the transmission, they look pretty clean. You'll never see them, you know. I just know they're there, so it just peace of mind, you know. The other bolts are ate up and shit. So with that being said, there's a few things with this transmission that I finally got it out and definitely saw. There's big old scrape. Definitely some scrapes underneath here, and there's some fucking couple tracks on this side as well. Definitely biggest flaws here is the gasket material still on the tail housing, and using a old shifter cup, and they glued the little bushing there too as well. And I don't know if you can see in those threads, and they've seen better days. So this will be my first and last transmission from Hawks Motorsport. With that being said, I'm gonna clean the gasket material off, thread chaser these, make sure they're salvageable, because even the bolts are full of bullshit, you know, like it's a shifter, ain't like it's fucking going on a fucking flywheel. And even these bolts are fucking lugga-dugga on them. You can see the threads. These bolts are not even fully circle, they're round, they're oval, and they explain why the threads are fucked up and these threads are fucked up. So definitely a big giant QC fucking flaw, you know. This will be the last goddamn transmission I buy from y'all. Just no. I don't want to bash talk the company, you know. I'm not here to do that shit and buy a product and review it and all that shit. I was very excited to put the son of a bitch in there, but now I have to fucking thread chest these motherfuckers, clean this gasket material off, vacuum that shit out, deal with that shit, and as well fucking make sure nothing on the side or the housing's cracked or some shit. I'm going a goddamn rant. I'm done. I'm just gonna put this motherfucker in there with extra parts and continue the build series. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so I got these threads cleaned up with the chaser. I got the shifter cut all cleaned up. I did vacuum all that stuff out of there, as well as getting the fitting on the throwout bearing. I did take it off, put some thread locker on the ARP bolts, and then torqued them to 12 foot-pounds. It is aluminum. I don't want to go over and stripped the thread. So 12 foot-pounds with some blue Loctite, definitely secure it. I did tighten this down with some Teflon tape, get that hooked up, and then honestly it can be stabbed in the car. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so I'm underneath the car. There's only one more thing to do before I can stab this transmission in, and it is to connect the line from the clutch master cylinder to the throwout bearing. And there'll be enough space as soon as I mount it up in there close to it. I can kind of get it kind of close to the point that I can get 2 wrenches in there and tighten them up. I kind of wanted to tighten them up beforehand, you know, like have it hanging down right here and then like slide it on and through 2 bolts. It would be a little bit more easier, but I'm like, I can make it work. So with that being said, let's get back to it. Alright guys, so after a few minutes and a couple seconds, she's in. She's mounted, she's bolted up. So we're getting close, very, very close. I'm gonna do the shifter next and the shifter lever, get that bolted up so I can put the cross member on and the transmission mount, and then put the drive shaft in. I have to go to the store real quick and get a little pumper thingy from Harbor Freight. So with that said, let's go ahead and install that shifter. Alright guys, so I got you mounted up in the center best as I can. So if you are tuning in, this is the shifter I'm going to run. It is a T56 stock Stikky Short Throw Shifter. It is all CNC aluminum made, and it does come with its own lever. If you do select the part, it is a 3/8 16 thread, 8-inch tall, as well as this piece that finally came in. I finally got the shifter knob in, you know. Very, very needed. Very, very needed for the swap. But with that being said, I'm gonna put you on time lapse so I can just hurry up, because at the end of the day I want to turn this motherfucking key too as well. Close the door for y'all. Alright guys, so shifter's installed. Definitely feels rigid. Definitely feels god damn. That is one sticky little shifter. It's gonna get some time getting used to that shit for sure. But I do have the shift knob, which I really do need to install. It does have a shim and sleeve for it, so I can kind of have it parallel as possible. That way it's not crooked and you gotta tie it a little more further in than usual. What the fuck? I need some help. Yeah. A little rough to get on, but she's on. Double check everything and then stab the sleeve onto the lever. The way we go the right distance is it installed correctly. Lock it down. Where is my adjustable? There you are. And there you go. She's in. takes some time to get used to for sure. Like it feels good, you know, going in gear. It just reverses, bitch, to get in there. So, but it's in. Enough of me blabbering about it. Now we have to do the transmount and a crossmember, so we can kind of mate the transmission to the car fully and get that driveshaft on. So let's go do that. So back underneath the car, we are going to install our RevShift poly mounts onto the transmission. Really last thing to do with the transmission and then the crossmember. So these are just 2 bolts underneath. I go right here and I go just like that. Voila. So these bushings will give you a more stiffer feel than the OEM bushings, as well give you a decent comfort. They're not gonna, you know, be completely stiff like solid stiff, but you'll definitely feel a difference while driving and shifting the vehicle. You just notice the difference. The factory trans mounts are just too soft, you know. It is not my cup of tea anymore. So these are definitely a good solid upgrade. If you're looking for a nice trans mount, I recommend these. I do run the same mount for the motor mounts for about 3 years, and honestly, they still feel like they're brand new. So, okay. Now, cross member. Make sure you grab the manual cross member due to the fact that the automatic would not bolt up to it. On the hose to it, install the supplied nuts that came with the mount. Have them loose, just get them on there. And then you're at this point, start pumping up the transmission so those holes can line up. Do you leave it loose enough to like you can kind of move the cross member out of the way until where you need to be at. That way you can kind of get it in without cross-threading him. Okay, now the transmission should naturally just come back down on its own power. And as well, these are 10 millimeters. We're gonna bolt those up real quick as well. Oh, never mind. Correction. They are 12. Nope. Oh, the wrong socket. Correction. They're 13. So get them tight. Don't fucking He-Man the fuck out of them, but you know, snug them up. Okay. And now, on the transmission's own power, should be supporting it itself. Now, she is definitely now T56 watt now. So she's in. Leave the track. We can get the jack out of here, and then reconnect all the sensors to go to the harness, and then do that drive shaft. Easy as pie, right? around the zip tie right here. And some tape around here. That way I don't have an issue but catching on fire. You know, you don't want that, I believe. Where do you go? Now let me go grab that drive shaft real quick and bolt it in. Let's go. Hey. Fucking shit. I thought I was done doing army shit. Alright, so with this drive shaft, this is the same drive shaft I got off the car back in 2020. It's the same drive shaft running with the automatic. And now, the final truth, do you mount to a transmission? You fucking do. Fuck yeah. I'll give you the part number for this too. Give me a minute. 1 second. Fuck. That's not good. Oh, fuck. It might be too long. Son of a bitch. There's no slip at all. Son of a bitch. I wanted to drive it today too, motherfucker.